Good afternoon. How are you guys? I'm just walking around the street. There's a little bit of a topic that I wanted to share, and that is related to the diminishing of tennis from the sporting ecosystem. And what I wanted to talk about is mainly not just the evaluations, the way that Padel and Pickleball has increased. We have all discussed all that. You can check all my videos before. But there is one more thing that I wanted to talk about. And I feel that the diminishing of the tennis ecosystem, of tennis from the ecosystem, is down to, I believe, the coaching strategy. And I'm calling out every single lower level tennis coach at the moment, because I feel that this is something that they are solely responsible for. If you look at all the poor countries, all the developing countries like mine, or even the established countries like Serbia, where they have a few, top draw tennis players like Novak Djokovic, or before him there was Ana Ivanovic, and before her there was Monica Seles. And people don't realize, but Monica Seles actually was from Serbia. She was from Yugoslavia, which eventually was named as Serbia. People don't realize that. But anyway, that's another topic. The coaches, what they do is, when there is a beginner coming to the tennis court, what these lower level coaches do is that they begin their coaching with the serve. For those who don't know, that the serve is the first thing that starts a tennis rally. Every single tennis point starts with the serve. And serve is the only shot that tennis players can control. The others they react to, like the return, like the forehand, like the backhand, all of these shots they react to. Serve is the only shot that they control. But at the same time, tennis is the shot that is the most difficult one out of all of the shots. Like if you name all of them, like the volley, like the serve, all of these shots. These are the shots that are much more easier than the serve. So what do you think that what a beginner would do when he starts with a serve? What do you think that he's going to do? He's obviously going to blast it. He's obviously going to create some kind of a blunder. So I'm calling out each and every tennis coach right now that please, I'm not talking about the higher level coaches because they know a certain way of handling the beginners, but I'm talking about all the lower level players that do not have a base of tennis players up and coming. And I genuinely believe that they themselves are responsible for it, because they demotivate today's beginners in such a way that they never come back to the tennis court again. I mean, what do you think that a beginner would do when he sees a few serves going wide? What do you think that he's going to do? He's obviously going to be demotivated. For the best possible way that a coach should do with a beginner is that you make the tennis court small. You make it look like it's a table tennis court. You try to make sure that you give the confidence to the player that he's able to clear the net. And that's something that my tennis coaches, they instill in me and all the beginners that they are coaching right now. And you can literally look at my left and right, and you will see what they do, because they do some outstanding coaching. They try to make sure that the beginners clear the net, and then and the most important thing is that they instill the mentality of running, of covering the court. because if they cannot cover the court, and if they just stand like statues, they're never going to be a good tennis players. So these are the two things that they add to a beginner. They instill the mentality of running. Now let me tell you one important thing, that in paddle and in pickleball you cover much more court than in tennis, because in tennis many points get finished after a stroke. For example, if you hit an ace or if you hit a service winner, the point is finished. But in paddle, most of the points finish after 20 shots or 25 shots or 30 shots. So there is much more court coverage needed in paddle and pickleball compared to tennis. But despite that, the tennis coaches must instill the mentality of court coverage. But starting off with the tennis serve, I mean, that is just so wrong. And when a beginner gets demotivated from tennis because of this, and then he goes to paddle and he says that, and he sees like, okay, this paddle serve is an underarm serve and tennis serve is an overhead serve, so surely pickleball is much easier, so let's go start playing pickleball or paddle. This is one of the reasons. You get what I'm saying? You need to make sure that you make things easier for a beginner rather than making it difficult for them. You should not start off anyone's career with a serve, because let me give you a few examples, and these are professional level examples. Coco Gauff is currently a top five player. She is a two-time Grand Slam champion. Coco Gauff is a two-time Grand Slam champion. Okay. And what happens is, despite her winning 2 Grand Slams and being in the top 3, she still cannot control her serve properly. And she has sacked so many coaches as a consequence of this. She sacked Brad Gilbert. She sacked, I think, one more coach after Brad. And her biggest question mark is still her serve, despite being a professional tennis player for so long. She's a 2-time Grand Slam champion. So many WTA players don't even get 2 in 1. She's a 2-time Grand Slam champion, and she still gets mocked for her serve, being a professional player. I am a club level player, okay? And I've played tennis since 2009. I've made it to international tennis. I've just played till national level. Despite me playing since 2009, I'm still trying to improve my serve, my first serve and second serve. So what makes you think that a beginner who has just picked up a racket, what do you think that he's going to do while trying to experiment with the most difficult shot in tennis? So please, to all the tennis coaches, make life easier. Make life as easier as it is for the beginners, because now it's not just about getting demotivated from tennis. Your lack of clear coaching strategy is going to cost so many tennis players that they'll end up playing pickleball or paddle, and you are literally contributing to the sport's demise and the growth of paddle and pickleball, which is the biggest question mark today, which is why everyone like Novak Djokovic is saying that tennis is in danger. So let me know, am I right? Do you think I have a point? So let me know.